What's up, man?
What's going on, dude? Where's your...
Oh shit, you're a robot.
Yeah. Hey, wait, where's your picture? Because right now you're a robot.
Let's see.
There you go. What's going on, dude?
It's been forever since I've used Skype. Like, this shit's ridiculous.
Dude, I started using this for my podcast, but I looked at my account, and the last time I used it was like November 2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the last time I used it was probably in 2014 when I was deployed. But yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, hey,
and I started using Hangouts instead, Google Hangouts.
Yeah, I've used Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts works, Skype works, FaceTime's honestly not bad. And then there's this online service that's pretty shitty, but I've used it for people that like don't want their identities up.
Yeah.
Like on Sunday, I'm doing an active member of the Israeli Special Forces in Israel.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
He did an AMA on Reddit, and he like so Reddit will only let you do an AMA if you provide proof to the moderator. So like he got approved, so I messaged him. I was like, "Do you want to do it?" And he was like, "Sure." Like, I can't show my face, and I was like, dude, I need video. And he was like, "All right." He's like, "I'm gonna wear like a balaclava," and I was like, "Fuck, all right." I was like, "All right, what time zone do you?" And he's like, "What the fuck do you think? I'm in Israel." And I was like, "Fuck, okay, let's do this." But
nice.
Yeah, man. So why don't you tell JP Veriano was my older brother's friend. He graduated high school before I attended, but we went to St. Pius X Catholic High School. And yeah, you don't need me to introduce yourself. You're a grown-ass man.
Yeah. Born in '86. Went to school with Tommy's brother John. Me and him were pretty close friends. In fact, I still to this day, man, your brother dropped the best line at my wedding when he came and showed up. So I was nervous as shit, and I, had the stomach rumbles. I was like, man, I gotta take a dump. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, I need to do this soon, man, before I walk up there. Otherwise, it's gonna be hell on earth. And I'm sitting there, and I find this barn to go take shit in, and I come out, and John's walking up, was like looking snazzy. He's like, yo, I heard some fucking getting married today. You little fucking bastard, man. He's a cool dude, man. I miss your brother.
God, man, I do, man. I can't. I don't know, dude. I have his little Georgia Tech blanket. I've literally slept with it every night since she passed. Yeah, and it's not even a conscious thing. I just fucking like the blanket. But it sounds really nice and sentimental. It's like, oh, you're like holding onto a piece of your brother. I get really hot really easily, and it's not a full-size blanket, so my feet and arms can stick out. So it's like the perfect. So I'm like
happy middle ground, right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, no, happy. Yeah, I'm like, this is just a dope blanket. And I'm like, okay, but yeah, man. So yeah, just I've said this to you beforehand. This isn't live, so I can edit out anything you don't want. I had a guy on yesterday. I had my friend on yesterday. A couple things where he's like, you can't do this guy. I was like, yeah, I got you. Yeah. So I just want to give you that. I just want to give you a heads up. So feel free to say anything. And so I time it as soon as I start, so I can do laps when or I can hit markers if you say, hey, take that out, so I can pinpoint the timestamp and take it out. And I don't even try to be suave about it. I just literally openly say, like, this podcast is not live. Shit's edited out. Fuck off. Like, no, and until people are paying me, you don't get a live thing. Fuck off. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. I like that. Yeah. But yeah, just to continue, man. I guess you probably want me on here because of my experience in the military. I did 7 years active duty in the United States Air Force, and during that time, for about 3.5 years, I was a sensor operator for MQ-9 and MQ-9, which are people, UAVs. Those are the three kill streaks that you get in Call of Duty, the UAVs.
Is this Sentry and Reaper? What are they?
MQ-1 Predator and MQ-9 Reaper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupt. I'm trying. I've been listening to my podcast.
Oh man, that's fine.
And no, I need to shut the fuck up. This is a personal thing. Keep talking.
Well, yeah, like I get that with my wife too, because every time we watch a military movie, or something, she's like, "Does that really happen?" And like she feels like she's interrupting. I'm like, no. It's good to ask, because there's a lot of stuff that gets lost in translation between military and civilian. So it's perfectly fine, man. Interrupt all you want. But after that, I had a career change about halfway through my time in the Air Force, and I went to be a imagery analysis, which is what I was originally signed up for. So
okay, that's cool.
And yeah, and now I'm still doing that as a government contractor on the outside, free and clear, no military, I guess obligations, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing this for about probably 10 years now.
That's fucking badass, man. What got you? So before I even ask the serious question, do you play Ace Combat?
I used to, man. I fucking loved Ace Combat. Yeah.
Did you? I never played it. I didn't even know what the fucking series was until probably about a year. Honestly, almost a year to the day. I remember just walking into Walmart, feeling kind of depressed, kind of anxious, and like the true healthy thing to do, instead of addressing the root problem, I was like, I'm going to buy a video game. And I went, nice consumer culture, and I went there and saw Ace Combat. I just saw an F-22. I was like, I want to fly shit. But the entire thing is about drones, and it's about it's about a mothership called the Arsenal Bird, and it's a kilometer wide, and it carries 180, basically like X-47 or whatever the prototype is right now. But yeah, I was going to ask if you played that, because the entire thing is about drones.
Is that the most recent one? The most recent Ace Combat?
Yes, most recent Ace Combat. No, this is Ace Combat 7.
Yeah, I have not played Ace Combat in a few years, man. But when I was younger and I had like a PlayStation, that was like a mainstay Ace Combat. I fucking loved that game. So,
yeah. No, I sold my Xbox a couple months ago because I was playing it so much. I was like, okay. I played through the campaign so many times I was starting to go through and get all the ridiculous achievements, like, bank right for 500 hours. And I was just finding out, I was like, if I put a tenth of this time into just learning a new skill, I would be better off. And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna fucking sell it. So,
it's kind of like self-defeating in their own way. It's like, really, you want me to bank right for 500 fucking hours?
Yeah.
But no, don't feel bad, man. I'm a nerd through and through.
Fuck yeah.
I got my Xbox. My whole little nerd pad. This is my nerd office right in here. So I do homework and usually procrastinate playing video games. So.
Hey, well, let's be very clear. When I live at home, once I'm doing online graphic design school, once I can land a job and move out, I'm gonna fucking buy an Xbox again. For me, it was a personal thing. It was like I had to put it. I like left it with my friend in Baltimore who also went to Pius for like a couple months because I was like, I need to focus, and I ended up just driving back and getting it. And I was like, I was gonna tell him, hey, don't let me have this, but I know that I would just break down his door and bully him. So I was just like, I'm gonna sell this and spend the money, and so it's gone. Yeah. And so as soon as I can get a job, I'm gonna get a new fucking Xbox and get Ace Combat and get it all set up, and I'm gonna go in deeper than before. I was just putting the tip in before. I'm gonna go balls deep next time. I'm gonna
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So no, I'm not. Don't think I'm putting it down. I'm not above it.
Oh no, I'm letting you know you're safe here. You're safe here.
Okay, good.
Some drone pilot or ex-drone sensor operator. By the way, I wasn't a pilot. I was a sensor operator. I controlled the camera on it. So they call us stick monkeys in the Air Force. But that's like real life gaming. I mean, it's more serious than that, obviously. And they always tell you through training, it's like it's not like gaming. It's like it's a little bit like gaming. But I've been a gamer my whole life, so I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. Yeah, I fucking love it.
No, fuck yeah, dude. So MQ-1 Predator and MQ-9 Reaper. So what can you talk about? What do you want to talk about? Because I have a million fucking questions, but just like 2 days ago, I had on a kid that survived a school shooting, and I was just like, I had him on. I was like, hey, I have a million dumb Tommy questions, but I was like, I told him beforehand, I was like, you talk about what you want to talk about. And so for like serious guests where like life and death is concerned, I try to tone back my general throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
All right.
I had my friend on yesterday, did 3D printing. I just let it rip. Hey, can you print dildos? Like, stupid shit like that. Like, hey, but
well, Kenny, could you print dildos? Like, I want to know.
That's something that I don't want the public to know. Okay, let's just. No, he never addressed it. I'm sure he can. He said they were printing circuit boards and shit. So I was like, okay, well, if you can do that, you can do dildos. But
you can print guns. Like,
that, and I was like, can you print a bong? pulled out a bomb. And I was like, okay, good. I was like, okay, good. I was like, Britt, what else do you do? He's like, I also work in a hydroponics farm. I was like, oh, okay.
Nice.
I was like,
yeah, he's tried it.
oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm not a fucking idiot, dude. And but yeah, so so I don't know anything about any military service. So did you go in thinking this is, you said you initially wanted to do imagery analysis. Now, did you want to do like NRO stuff, National Reconnaissance Office, or National like Geospatial? What is it? Geospatial and Mapping Agency?
Yeah, NGA, National Geospatial Agency. I want to say it's agency. There's so many acronyms, man. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
So did you go in thinking like, I want to do that, and they were just like, we need you here, so you're going here?
Yeah, for the most part. So when I joined up, I had done 2 years of college, actually going to college, and my first year I did pretty well. My second year I turned 21 and moved off campus, and it was downhill from there. So
yeah.
So when I went to go talk to the recruiter, I told him, like, hey, I just need something to help me kind of get my life on track because I kind of fucked it up and whatnot, and I don't really like working this bullshit fucking dead end job where I'm making dick for wages and whatnot. And he's like, all right. He's like, well, originally what they wanted me to do was be a boom operator on the air refueling tankers,
KC-135,
which sounded like a cool fucking job to me. But honestly, I'm glad it didn't go that way because there's zero application outside of the military, so that would have sucked. And luckily, my recruiter, not all recruiters are bad, man. You hear a lot of horror stories about recruiters, but my recruiter was actually looking out for my best interest. And he said, I know you don't know if you want to go in, for the full 20 or even 10. He's like, so I would recommend this career field. And you can go in, it has good application on the outside. You can get paid, easy to find a job, blah, 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 blah. So I went in and did my 6 months of BMT, basic military training, or 6 weeks, of basic military training. And then I went to do imagery analysis school. That took 6 months. And when I first got to imagery analysis school, man, they told me like, hey, so you guys aren't going to be doing this because Big Daddy Air Force needs you over here. And you guys are in the middle of doing this shit right here. It's like, so you're going to finish up this training and then you're going to go out to your duty station. And then from there, you'll probably go to Las Vegas for MQ-9 and MQ-1 training. So yeah, it was pretty much, it wasn't something that I necessarily wanted to do. However, I didn't have a say in the matter, but I'm glad I got to experience it. So,
yeah. So what was MQ-1 and MQ-9 training like? Was that just like a shooting range, but like in heaven? In the sky with military grade weapons? And what was it? The Nevada test site? Was that?
No, not Nevada test site. There's a couple military bases out there. Creech Air Force Base is kind of, I want to say it's in the southern part of the Mojave Desert, I believe. I can't necessarily be sure, but it's about 45 minutes north of like Las Vegas, and just one highway, man, straight shot. You pass the prison where OJ was sentenced to. There's signs along the highway that says, hey, don't pick up hitchhikers here, especially.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, because you're literally out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Anyways, no, it was about, God, I want to say it was 4 months. It was 4 months of me being out in Vegas. And let me tell you, after being in Clovis, New Mexico for 2 months, like I had a blast out in Las Vegas. Yeah. But it's just, you go through academics, you got to learn the actual aircraft inside and out. You got to learn stuff that has to deal with, satellite links and all kinds of other shit. And they run you through the gambit. And I think for the first 2 weeks, it's all academics. So you're actually being tested and stuff. And then after that, man, you're doing actual flying. So you're sitting in the seat and, going through the motions, learning everything that you can in there. And they throw you, kind of like training scenarios. Like, hey, let's say, this shit happens while you're in the middle of a mission. You see these kind of symptoms and whatnot. Can you talk to me the steps that you need to take to make sure that the aircraft is, maintained? Because we're talking about multi-million-dollar aircraft here. So it's just stuff like that. And you go through that for a couple months. I didn't get to do it on MQ-1, but on MQ-9, I actually got to drop weapons like a dummy weapon.
Yeah.
Which is cool as shit. So, you do fire exercises with missiles. And, I mean, I seriously doubt they do live fire missions, but, I got to at least do a dummy mission, which was cool. I got to drop a fucking bomb right on a stationary plane, fuck its wing up, so it was cool.
Wait, they can drop bombs? I thought they could only fire like Hellfire missiles.
Yeah. So they have Hellfire missiles. I mean, it's this is where I'm curious, like what I can and can't talk about. But I mean, you can talk about bombs, but I don't want to say which.
No, you're fine. I had a
yeah.
guy on that did operated radar on a amphibious assault ship, and we were talking about it, and I was like, "What's the ceiling on that?" And he was like, "I can't fucking tell you that." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine. That's fine." So no, dude, by all means, just be like, "Nope, can't tell. It's fine. If anything, it's cool."
Well, no. I mean, bombs. It's just. It runs off the same kind of tech that they already have. So yeah, they can do both bombs. Well, so let me be clear. The MQ-9, the smaller one, which is really, it's no longer in service. They pretty much phased them out.
Okay.
They only did have Hellfire missiles, and now the MQ-9, the Reapers, which are roughly the size of an A-10 aircraft, they hold like 4 Hellfires and like some other bombs too. I mean, they're fully loaded. So yeah.
Now, with imagery analysis, did you ever try to work with the Global Hawk as the one they made for the CIA? That huge fucker?
No, I did not. It's really weird, like you go through your military training and stuff, and you really don't have an idea on how broad, imagery analysis is. Like there's imagery analysis that do targeting. There's imagery analysis that do, I guess stuff with the Global Hawk and satellite imagery and all that other stuff. Because of my experience, I fit in with imagery analysis that literally watched what we call near real-time imagery with the MQ-1 and MQ-9 Reapers. So, yeah. So that's all I've done. But
okay. And so when you were deployed or when you were actually flying missions, again, whatever you can't talk about, so you can't talk about, but were you and the pilot next to each other? Is it like a tag team? Like you guys are in this together? Is it because you don't have to be in a plane? Is it better to have you separated for whatever reason? I'm asking this as someone that just doesn't know shit, so I'm just...
No, and that's fine. No, I mean, we sat... you're still part of it. You're technically air crew, So you sat in the same little box, and there's just each box basically controls a separate, drone. So, and with that, in that box is all the controls, and I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but like where I was located out in New Mexico, like we just had like a patio just full of these boxes, and you just every day you walked in, you're like, what box am I in today? This one? All right, mission's in there. So yeah.
I hope
so you and your pilot would go in step and sit in that box for 12 hours, getting to know each other because there's not much else to fucking do.
Yeah. I fucking hope to God you guys have some air conditioning in those motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, man. Well, we needed it.
All the computers. Yeah, you got it. Just the fucking heat production.
Yeah, they were mostly cold, constantly kept cold, just because of that situation. Fuck ton of computers in there running up the temperature, and then, on top of that, just the amount of farts that were released in those boxes. Like you could tell someone had something right for dinner. Like when you come in 12 hours later, they've been stewing in that shit. Like, dude, it smells like ass in here. Like, oh really? I got used to it then. I'm like,
oh God.
I'm not going.
Oh my God, that would make me vomit. Dude, I get sick of my own farts. When I'm in my room, like sleeping, the door closed, and I go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I come back in, I'm like, oh, who ripped ass? And I'm like, it's just me. What do I mean, who ripped ass? Like, what kind of dumb fucking, like, and there's not, worst part is like, it's not even like there's anyone around that I'm trying to, like, defer. It's not like there's a hot girl, like, oh man, who ripped, it's just me. Like, so I'm like, who ripped ass? I don't know, man. And it's just like, is this the onset of schizophrenia? But
you need to get a dog, man. That way you can blame it on the dog.
Well, we still have Oscar, dude. We still have Oscar. Oscar's
still alive?
He's 17.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. He's like mostly blind, mostly deaf. It's fucking crazy. Oh. Yeah, but no, dude. He's a trooper.
That's cool as shit, man.
Yeah. But he, he's still paralyzed, so he can't walk upstairs. So yeah, I can't blame the farts on him. That's the important part. So, with imagery analysis, or what all can you because I don't want to jump right to that. What all can you talk about with your deployment in drones? I don't want to just.
So I never got to deploy as a sensor operator, which sucked because I really wanted to do it. The squadron I was in, not to defer anybody who might be listening or will listen is thinking about joining the military, because if you do, hit me up, man. You got any questions, I'll tell you. It's definitely worth your time. But the squadron that I was in was what we call a good old boy squadron, basically a lot of brown nosing, a lot of ass kissing up at the top, and I didn't kiss enough ass and suck enough dick, whatever the hell you want to say. I could not get a deployment gig, man. I really wanted to. A bunch of my friends got to, and they really enjoyed it, especially being out in Cannon, Air Force Base, New Mexico, in the middle of fucking nowhere. People would come back from deployments and be like, yo, when can I go back out? Because living here fucking blows. Yeah. So, like, they'd much rather live, in a deployed environment in the desert. I mean, also they're getting paid more, but than live in fucking Clovis, New Mexico. So
I thought that, yeah, I thought, fuck you, Clovis, New Mexico.
Yeah, fuck.
We're all for everyone,
fuck
but
Shifty 50. Yeah. Fuck you.
I just lost that. I lost that booming market of Clovis, New Mexico. That's gonna be the make or break of this podcast.
There's nothing.
So there's no one out there to insult. But now I thought deployments were. I thought you did them from. Do you not do them from New Mexico? I thought. Is it just not? Shows how intelligent I am. Is it not just like, I thought it was just, it's like through satellite operated.
Correct. It is. And yeah, so normal missions, yes, but these still deployments, because again, this might be treading on territory that I don't necessarily want to dip too far into.
That's fine.
Basically, for deployment's sake, you're going down there and you're doing a different part of the job that we can't do in the States.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you need to be deployed. To Iraq or Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just to do a portion of the job, not the whole job itself.
Yeah. No, I got you. I mean, I don't got you. I don't get it, but yeah, I understand. Yeah. So what do you think about the and I know you can answer whatever you want in here, because I know that you won't know. You'll know as little as I do. What do you think about the B-21 bomber, the replacement for the B-2 Spirit, that's supposed to have drone capabilities?
I have not heard about this whatsoever, man.
Well, it's a special access project, so even congressional members can't get any. Apparently, John McCain went to Northrop and was like,
Northrop Grumman.
Yeah, and he was like, what are we doing with it? What? And apparently, they told him it has wings and can fly. And I think the last thing to have special access project on it was the F-117 Nighthawk, because it was the first. Well, the SR-71 was, but it was the first It was the first attack plane with offensive capabilities that had stealth, and it was such a game changer. I listened to Skunkworks by Ben Rich, and he talks about they were doing the radar cross section, and it came back to be the size of a ball bearing. And when he showed it to fucking Pentagon officials, they were like, "Not only are we funding this is special access project, so that's above top secret, that's above secure compartmentalized information, that's SAP." And it was like, not only is it important we have this, it's important that no one else knows this exists. Obviously you don't want anyone to be able to prepare for it. So the B-21 is, I don't even know if it can be. I've heard it has special access program classification slapped on it, but I'm not even sure if that's true, because I think when you have that classification, part of it's like no one can know it has the classification. So it's like but the point being is it's fucking classified as fuck. So what do you think about that it's going to have drone capabilities?
Honestly, man, I feel like that is the way of the future, There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of theory that says, you can't automate years of experience, for a real ass in the seat pilot, and I totally get that. But if you could have the best of both worlds, I wouldn't see why not.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is the first I've actually even heard about that. mainly because I like the traditional aircraft. You know,
yeah.
My dad was a P-3 pilot in the Navy, and he
Really?
flew similar, ISR operations for the Navy during the Vietnam War and stuff. And
oh, Jesus.
My entire time growing up, I thought he was like a fighter pilot, like Top Gun and shit. And I was like, man, I want to be like my dad. And then, I didn't want to do anything with the military. And then I went to college, and then it turns out I, failed, went to the military, and kind of had a similar fucking career. So it's kind of funny that way. But I don't know. I've always, not to downplay MQ-1, MQ-9, because they've done amazing things, especially in the current wars. But I don't know, man. Just something about being, real ass in the seat pilot sitting there and fucking, that's what I always wanted to do. Or a helicopter pilot, for that matter. Yeah. But, I can see the benefits in the technology, though. Just having that capabilities. I can only think of a couple applications. I can't imagine what other brainiacs who are engineering this shit are thinking of.
Motherfuckers,
that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I wish John was here, because that motherfucker he was too smart. He would fucking tell us what's going on.
Speaking of which, not to get a sidetrack, but what was your brother doing down in Georgia?
There is no topic.
Wasn't he working with F-22s?
There is no topic. We cannot be sidetracked. There is no.
Right, good,
it is impossible, because there is no direction. We can.
Nice. I like it.
You were in the Air Force. We can talk about dildos for the next hour. This is my podcast. Fuck everyone.
I don't know a whole lot about them. But,
yeah. I don't know a lot about him either. I definitely don't. Push my collection aside. Those are police batons. But what he was doing. I remember him saying something about F-22s once, but I also remember him telling me that he couldn't say a lot of stuff. With some classes, he said you weren't allowed to bring your laptop or phone in, because he was doing stuff he was at Georgia Tech, but he was working at GTRI, Georgia Tech Research Institute. He said they were always being, I guess, not interviewed, but they'd have sort of unplanned meetings with government officials and be like, "How's everything going? What do you you got any? How's your friend groups going? No weird people, What?
What are you doing with our money?"
Yeah. No, not that. More so, just like counterintelligence.
Oh wow.
Hey, no one, no kind strangers randomly befriending you. Who just happen to have an interest in fighter jets, because that's what we do overseas. So why wouldn't someone else do that to us? Said it was hilarious. They had fucking propaganda posters in the halls, it was World War II. It was it was literally like whatever the modern equivalent of
lip sync ships, that kind of shit.
Yeah, it was literally about the modern equivalent. It was shit like that. And he was it was so funny because it was clearly directed at all of the Asian students there. Only John could point out. He's they weren't worried about me. I was a good old white American boy. But he was everything was if you had, and it's if you had more than half a percentage of Chinese DNA, it was remember your duty. But but because of that, he couldn't the stuff he would tell me about was all super fucking cool, but he said there was definitely stuff he couldn't tell me about, and he also couldn't tell me that he couldn't tell. I don't know. It's right. So, but I remember him telling me when they'd fire up jet engines and prototype engines, it would fucking suck all the power out of the entire fucking research, because you'd hear people be we were fucking welding, and literally everything stopped, air compressor stopped, lights stopped, and he'd be and John would be yeah, we were in there fucking. We'd have an engine strapped down, blowing shock diamonds out 50 feet. He was you'd set off car alarms, fucking 500 yards away. So no, I don't entirely know what he was doing, and I'm kind of disappointed. Cool. I wish I did. It's cool that I
just remember him posting pictures. I'm John, what the fuck are you doing, man?
He'd always
pretty
post,
dope.
He'd always post he'd always post it would be cryptic. It'd be he'd be in one of those places with
right,
all
the eggshell carton shit.
Yeah, on the walls, he'd have that, or he'd have jet engines and shit, and I'd be dude, what the fuck are you doing? And yeah, I would imagine that he wasn't allowed to talk about it, but so I don't know what he was doing, but so there's one thing I talked about with the Navy radar guy, we talked about the B-21 and stealth capabilities and being a drone, but we were talking about like artificial intelligence, right? And we were like, isn't that like the worst thing you'd want to have drone capabilities? Because it's one thing if you make an MQ-9. It's one thing if you fucking have like a drone, like, you know, ordnance disposal little robot or something. All right. Do you really want to give drone capabilities to something that we can only detect because it's our guys inside telling us where they are? You can
no.
They are built to avoid detection from.
I've seen enough movies and TV, man. Like
I've seen enough Terminators. I've seen fucking.
Right.
I play Days Combat.
They keep reviving the whole fucking thing every 10 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better for humanity, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, dude. I watched the movie Stealth, dude. I played Days Combat 7 like 100 times. I know how it goes down. But it seems like we're just going down that line. It's like Let's see what happens. It's like Sam Kinison talking about like getting your heart broken. He's like, you know, you fall in love for the 10th time, you're on your 5th wife, and love's like, come on, I'm not lying this time. Come on, I'm not gonna break your heart. Let's fall in love happily ever. Oh, you stupid idiot! 50%
you fucked it up.
50% of your shit gone. I can't believe you fell for it again. A year later, come on, she likes you. But like, it kind of seems like that's what we're doing. It's like, all right, we got this thing that's so fucking. The B-2 bomber came out in 1989. This thing has 30 years on that. It's supposed to be able to fly at 80,000 feet with drone capabilities. Jesus fuck knows what kind of loiter time that thing's gonna have.
Oh yeah.
And we're just gonna, hey, let's only be connected to it by a satellite link. And we fucking load out B-2 bombers. They can hold fucking thermonuclear warheads. Like,
yeah.
So just what do you? I know you said you like ass in the seat. That was one thing I thought of. Was like, sure, maybe have drone capabilities, but I feel like you'd literally want like a pilot in the seat, even if he's just sleeping for it, and so that way he can loiter for 40 hours, 50 hours, because it's not mentally taxing. He can just, you know, he's on standby. But I feel like you literally want someone in the craft who can be like, yeah, it's malfunctioning. Like, I'm taking it back. Like, you don't want this fucking $2 billion just silhouette of death in the stratosphere. Like, we can't get it back. Like,
yeah, just floating around China right now. Yeah, we might get linked back with it. Yeah,
we hope it loiters back here. God, please,
dude. I mean, that shit. Like, I'll just tell you, man. Like, that shit. That's kind of been on the forefront of military technology right now. It's just automation, whenever possible, wherever possible. I mean, again, I'm not going to go into details, but I'm seeing it in my own fucking career field. It's just like, dude, like, first of all, I'm going to be put out of a job. Like, if this ever fucking takes off, I'm going to be put out of a fucking job, which sucks.
Every episode, I always take my medication during the episode. People always kind of like, what are you, like, because halfway through I'm like no, it's fucking sorry, but yeah, automation.
No, you're good. I took mine beforehand, so you're good.
All right, good. Yeah, we're nice and we're grounded in reality.
Yeah, I mean,
automation
that shit,
everywhere.
It fucking scares me, man, because I read some stuff. I'm not into current affairs on a lot of stuff, especially tech stuff. Like, I didn't know anything about the plane that you mentioned and whatnot, but I do remember reading a story about, I can't remember if it was Google or some other Silicon Valley tech company, but they were testing with AI, and they had like two machines running the same AI together, and they left it running overnight, and overnight two machines found out how to talk to each other. They made their own fucking computer language, and they were talking like they were clear. Like, one was putting input and the other one was responding. And they're like, yeah, we need to terminate this shit right now. I was like, yeah, you fucking do. You need to turn that off and fucking, you know, set it on fire, whatever. I don't care what you do. Just don't turn it back on.
Holy water on that.
Right. And like, you know,
it's coming.
We keep thinking that, like, and that's the other thing too, man. We keep thinking that these movies and stuff, like, they're just like these ideas. Oh, it could never fucking happen. No, a lot of this shit that's in movies and whatnot, like, it happens, man. Like, I saw another thing, like, people want to fucking make dinosaurs, and, you know, they like, I just saw the memes. Like, we literally have 5 movies that tell us why this would be a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, dude, it's fucking. I could be fucking. I'm not gonna fact check it because it just makes my point better. But I'm pretty sure 2001: A Space Odyssey came out before 1969, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I think so. Yeah.
I've seen it pointed to, but if you watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, they got the movements down. They got the lunar colonies down. They got the astronaut helmets down. They got all of it down before we went. So it's, with science fiction, it's not always just, it is just a movie, but part of what makes the best science fiction movies awesome is it's not just, horror, zombie, vampire, whatever. They try to make it as like, so you don't have to suspend your disbelief because you could go, oh, I could see that happening. Right.
They ground it in reality.
Yeah. Or like, if you ever seen that side by side? So SpaceX landing their own rocket, right, in 2016, cool as shit. Yeah. There was a fucking movie in the 50s, and it was like the future of rocket flight, and like it has a rocket coming down and landing on a barge in the ocean, but it's fucking in black and white. It's in 1950s, and they have them next to each other, and it's like how fucking cool is that? The future's now. But
right.
I look at it as like, yeah, the best science fiction movies are like you try to suspend disbelief. Like, you could even say like Avatar. Like, yeah, one day. I mean, we can already do VR, right? We can put on hell, you fucking operated shit that you weren't in. Well, if you can operate a plane on a long enough timeline, you'll be able to operate a body, a drone.
Right.
In a long enough timeline, it could look like a human. On a long enough timeline, it will happen. So, yeah, these sci-fi depictions are not an infallible marker for what reality will be, but it's definitely seems like the common theme in all of this is when you get to AI, it's like, well, yeah, eventually something better. 2001: A Space Odyssey, HAL 9000. I'm sorry, Dave, I can't let you do that. Like,
right? I can't let you do that, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't. Yeah, like it's. Have you ever watched epic rap battles of history?
I haven't seen all of them, but which one are you talking about?
They've been out for like 10 years. I remember, but John turned me on to them. But my favorite one is Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs, and they're going back and forth, Microsoft, Apple. But at the end, it ends with HAL 9000, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Bill, I can't let you do that."
All right.
But one of he's like, I can kick your ass at chess and Jeopardy. I can be the mind you could never be. And then he's like, I'm in your phone, I'm in your lap, I'm in your pocket. How are you going to shoot me down when I guide the rockets?
Right.
But it's like, but yeah, it's like, how are we? I'm going on a complete fucking rant here, but like,
no, but it's a valid fucking question, right?
So what happens when it goes to what better place to have it than it? It's not like it can jump into an MQ-9 Reaper. It's like, okay, that would be bad, but we could definitely blow one of ours out of the sky. No fucking. We use drones to shoot down. We use drones to practice with missiles. That's what the Navy guy was saying. He's like, yeah, we used to launch them off the ship, and then we'd hit it with a missile, a surface-to-air missile.
Right.
But a B-21, there's no American radar and Chinese radar and Russian radar. There's radar that obeys the laws of physics. Not obeys. Right. It's determined by the laws of physics. If a B-21 or anything for that matter can evade Russian radar and Chinese radar, it's going to evade ours. If an American nuclear weapon can take out Hiroshima, it can also take out New York. So it seems fucking creepy that we want to put it in the B-21, because it's like, we've seen where this goes.
Well, it's, not to wax philosophical or anything, but, you end up taking the humanity out of it. There's not going to be any humanity, in it. So, again, like I said, I'd hate to be that guy who determines, like, yeah, we're going to let this thing run a fucking algorithm, and then it'll decide if it should drop this bomb or not. It's like, no, I don't like that at all. Yeah. I don't like it.
Yeah.
This is, and it goes back to the AI story that I talked about earlier. Like, what the fuck were those two AI talking about? Like,
yeah, it's
what the fuck are they? They came up with their own fucking language and shit. It's like, what are they talking about? They could be talking about fucking, like, man, don't you wish that we had a fucking computerized dick that we could stroke off right now? It could be any, or it could be like, Wouldn't it be cool if we could stick said computerized dick through like a human's mouth and penetrate it?
Yeah,
through the back? And, like, how cool would that be?
Yeah, they might be saying that. They might just be saying like, it could literally just be like data 1, data 2, data. Like, it could be anything. But
exactly. No.
The way I think of it is like, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say until we can test like AI, man, I don't even like the whole idea of AI, to be honest with you. But until like, if I know it's going to happen,
it's coming. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, there's so many tech companies that are investing in it, you know, and like the DoD's in on it, you know, DARPA's in on it. They've been working on it for fucking years. Have you seen? Speaking of which, have you seen those little like the little dog drones that DARPA's been working up and stuff?
The little what?
They're like dog drones. I think they call them cheetah drones, but they're like, dude, it is something out of like a sci-fi film. Like these little fucking things with 3 legs, and they can basically navigate an entire warehouse and open up doors and shit. And I'm like,
I have seen those. Yeah, they're
and now they're working on the fucking parkour. You know,
I've seen the robot that can flip and shit.
The robot that can flip and jump on walls and shit. I'm like, dude, this stuff is fucking crazy. But
Google bought Boston Dynamics. I'm sure nothing bad's gonna happen with that. Fucking Google.
No, you can YouTube it all. Boston Dynamics, dude, DARPA, all that shit. I mean, stuff is fucking...
I was gonna say you can YouTube it all, which is also fucking Google. Like I have nothing against a fucking huge company. Hey, ball out. But I mean, come on. Like what are they doing? They're buying up Boston Dynamics. They're buying up all the robot and AI companies.
Yeah.
Is this not fucking Skynet?
Right.
Google, YouTube, Gmail, Google Play, Google Hangouts. It's fuck Google Maps. Mm-hmm. And what are they getting? They're getting the fucking robots. This is how it starts.
And our undying loyalty to them, too.
Yeah, exactly. You're goddamn right. And guess what? I'm going to fucking upload this podcast to YouTube. Like I'm going to get them views, and they're going to... I'm contributing to it. But... So... Oh, by the way, my mom told me to say hi. But,
Up, Trish. How are you doing, ma'am?
But, yeah, so she told me, she was like, you need to stop drinking water before your podcast. Because halfway through every podcast, I always say I have to piss. But I've been drinking... My mom said that I've drank more water growing up than my 3 brothers combined, that I never stopped drinking water, and I'm sure as hell not going to stop today. So on that note, I really have to piss. So JP, tell everyone what you're doing now, if you can.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go into some detail. So I'll just tell you. So back in 2014, I separated from the military. I was done with my active duty orders. My wife and I decided to move out to Colorado, and there. You know, when I got out, I was like, man, fuck the Air Force, fuck intelligence work. I don't want to do this shit anymore. I want to figure it out my own way. And I started going to school for IT, found out real quick that wasn't for me. Just was not for me at all. And then I got a contracting gig with a company out there, Sierra Nevada Corporation. I don't want to go into detail about what I was working on out there, but I did deploy with them to the Middle East for 5 separate occasions. During that time, had a baby, and that became a real strain, being away from the family for months on end. So then we moved back here, back to the east. I say here, you guys don't even know where this is. But we moved back east on the East Coast, and now I am working directly with the Air Force and essentially working on operations for imagery analysis. So all the stuff that I did while I was in the Air Force, I'm basically doing it on the outside, just as a contractor. And what we tend to do, there's a couple movies that are actually, they've depicted it pretty closely. I want to say Zero Dark 30 does a pretty good job. If you guys are familiar with who Mark Duplass is and the show The League that was on FX for a while, it was about the guys who played fantasy football. There's a spot in that movie where Mark Duplass is talking to the main character, the female main character. I can't remember her name or the actress's name. But he basically is like showing him like, yeah, we're pretty sure that this is Osama bin Laden in this building right here. That's pretty much, I don't get to work on stuff that fucking cool. And that's pretty much what an imagery analyst does, at least in my capacity and what I do. So did you hear any of that, Tommy?
I came in hearing Osama bin Laden, and I was like, how the
yeah, because I noticed that too. Like in my head, I was like, he just walked into screen right when I said Osama bin Laden. So I'm wondering if he's curious. But
I'm like, I fucking leave the room for 30 seconds, and you already get the podcast to a cooler place than
Dude,
I managed to do in an hour.
A whole story, like, No, have you seen Zero Dark 30?
Yes.
Okay, are you familiar with who Mark Duplass is? The League. It was on FX. It was a show about guys playing fantasy football together. All right. Well, anyways, one of the characters is in Zero Dark 30, and basically his job in that movie is like a glorification of what my job is. Like that would be the coolest fucking thing, to be tracking down Osama bin Laden. But I don't get to work on shit that cool. So
yeah, or not that you can talk about.
Yeah,
but,
no.
Yeah,
but I know.
Yeah. Yeah, because they said that's how they of all the other shit they also managed to pinpoint him with, but they said that's one of the things, right, is that there was a tall figure pacing back and forth in the compound in the courtyard, and they were like, that's him. And one of the other things was they had a CIA operative, because the CIA, nothing is out of their reach, and it's
right.
Like, and I don't say that as some like, hey, woke culture, bro, Illuminati. No, I say that and I'm like, fuck yeah, nothing's out of their reach. Fuck off, like big dick player, American flag. Yeah, I don't apologize for that here. I don't give a shit. I had my buddy to 180. I had my buddy Ernie on from Valdosta a couple weeks ago. Ernie's super far left. That's why I had him on, is because I like to have people on that. I like to have people on that challenge my views. I don't want to just sit here and jerk off to my own views. Ernie worked for the Democratic Party in Georgia, and he interned for the Obama administration. And so I brought up like the military budget, and he goes, "Yeah, it is $700 billion." And he goes, Ernie's a Mexican immigrant, and he goes, "And it fucking right should be. You know why? Because the world's fucking evil. I'm glad." He goes, "I'm glad. I'm not that normal liberal." He goes, "I'm fucking glad. You know why? Because I'm on this side of it all." He goes, if it's not us, guess what? It's not Kumbaya. It's China and Russia. Now it's just like, fuck. Ernie's standing me up. Like, I'm looking like a bitch now. Ernie's like, I don't give a fuck. And I was like, all right, but yeah.
Hey man, I didn't think I could have that in common with a fucking liberal, to be honest with you.
I know, dude. That was honestly one of my favorite. That was honestly one of my favorite podcasts. I had Ernie on because I just remember how he and I would always argue and like. It's me. It's like, you know, born in America, like blonde hair, blue eye, Republican, like, and then it's like Ernie, far left, immigrated from Mexico, parents immigrated, he immigrated when he was 1 with his parents. Far left, got into the Democratic Party, and I was like, that's why I want to have Ernie. What above all, I was like, Ernie's my friend, and he's respectful and he's intelligent, so I know it's not going to be like a your side this, your side that. I was like, let's just fucking. It was right after we blew up General Salami, and I call him Salami. I like it. And but Ernie comes on, and I was like, so Ernie, what'd you think about that? He goes, good. Fuck that guy. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like,
fuck that cocksucker.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I wanted. I was like, this is Ernesto I'm talking to, and so we start talking, and that was one of my favorite conversations because by the end of the 2 hours of it. I realized I was like, I have so much more in common, and vice versa. He was like, oh, Tommy, I thought you were all, but I was like, no. We were talking about. To me, it was like such like this whole insane divide. I was like, a lot of it is it's like a fraction of the percentage of the population, and they're blown up.
It's not as bad as the media makes it out. It's not as bad
as you think, man. Like, walk outside. Do you see people protesting and fighting? No, you see taking their kid to the bus stop. These fucking. Okay, cool. You vote left, I vote right. Hey, we're still neighbors. We're still like, hey, what's going on, dude? Like, you know, it's, and so yeah, but the CIA, back to Bin Laden, back to fucking up that motherfucker. So one of the things they had was they had an operative shooting a laser at the window of the compound, and the amount that when they were speaking inside of the building. Very, very, like even right now, I'm talking. The windows are vibrating infinitesimally. I couldn't detect it, but with a laser,
right, very minute, right.
With a laser, it could almost through like a visual Doppler effect. The vibration was affecting the laser, and the laser bounces back, and they record that. And of course, in only a way that the CIA could, they could not only detect that someone was talking. They could fucking decode it into what they're saying and figure out who was talking. And they're like,
that's fucking insane.
Yes, it is. So
that's fucking insane.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, you cannot run. You can't. That's when people are like, we had the opportunity to take General Salami. I'm like, we've always had the opportunity. We just decided to do it. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one of the ways they detected him. But it was that, and yeah, through aerial, or I guess satellite imagery. It was a tall. They called him. I think they called him, his like name within the CIA was like the Walker, or the Pacer, or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the fuck we got onto this topic, but yeah. Yeah.
I was telling everybody about what I do currently as a job, and basically compared it to that scene in Zero Dark 30 where they're like, yeah, we're pretty sure that's Bin Laden.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Show the pred imagery and whatnot. So
yeah,
that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. It's I fucking love the raid scene in that. I love they're going up.
It was a cool fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it always gets stamp approval when my wife, who's like, my wife, don't get me wrong, she's pretty like, you know, die in the wool fucking American and whatnot, but she's not like rah, you know, like, I mean, I was in the military, I can't help it.
Yeah.
But like when she was watching that movie with me, she's like, holy shit, this is really like, because she was getting like that intellectual portion, you know, it wasn't just all guns and glory and shit.
Yeah, just.
So like the whole process of them tracking down, she's like, is this really what it's like? I was like, I assume, babe, like I don't know anything about this shit. Like this is some top tier shit. Like I don't get to work on stuff like this.
Yeah.
But then like, you know, the guns and everything at the end, the raid scene, yeah, that shit was fucking cool. Osama, like just fucking, I was like, sneaky motherfucking SEALs, dude. Goddamn.
I've watched that scene on YouTube so many times. Khalid.
Yeah.
Khalid. Osama.
Yeah, Osama.
Fucking
creepy. They're fucking like the 4 knobs,
I know.
like goggles.
I know.
They look like something out of like Space Marines and shit.
Yeah, and I remember seeing a comment on Reddit and was like, think about this. It's not like World War II where like Hitler's like it's like the Americans and the Red Army are closing in. It's like you see the flags of the army in the distance. He's like, there's no that.
Yeah.
You're literally on the top floor of your house, and you open the door, and the last thing you see is just like probably see like 4 light, like the reflections of like glass circles. That's it.
Yeah.
He's like, that. You look. Are there 10 guys in my house?
Hanging out.
Yeah, and it was the guy that in the movie it's like Chris Pratt, right?
Yeah.
And Chris Pratt was also in Parks and Rec, and there's like a meme, like one of the memes is just like it's like a image of him, but it's in Parks and Rec, and he's got like whatever, he's got his like shirt on, his tie.
He's doing the big face.
Yeah. Someone said, think about this. Yeah. The last thing Osama saw, and it's that, and someone just did a crude Photoshop of the 4. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But so the other thing, other aircraft is the 6th generation fighter, the PCA, the penetrating counter air. That's supposed to be the successor to the F-22 and the F-35. It doesn't have any vertical.
They're already fucking working on a successor of these motherfucking things.
Yes,
goddamn.
It never stops, bro. It never. The machine keeps going. But
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's the same Cold War doctrine. If we don't, they will. But
yeah. I mean, they're not wrong. I'm just saying, like, I remember when the F-22 came up, man. I'm looking this shit up right now.
Yeah, PCA counter air, PCA penetrating counter air, PCA aircraft. Look it up. It's a sexy motherfucker. Some weird like manta ray delta wing with no vertical stabilizer.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this all concept right now, or is this an actual real thing?
Well, it's said to be concept, but I mean, if you
that looks fucking dope.
There's no way it's not being developed. But that is also supposed to fighter jet, normal fighter capabilities. But also drone capabilities, full drone capabilities that could escort the B-21.
Yeah,
we're tiptoeing down this line again. It's
right.
But they wanted to have drone capabilities because we are now getting to a point where our aircraft are now able to pull off physical maneuvers that a human cannot survive.
Right.
So we are becoming the limiting factor. We are slowly being out evolved. It's but we're doing it, and it seems like we're creating this thing. And we were talking about AI earlier, and everyone always thinks of it as like it's this thing that we're creating, and we need to make sure that, you know, we have our safeguards and it's not gonna whatever XYZ. But like, no, the chimpanzee didn't actively create us. It was a process bigger than any one chimp could see. Evolution that created us. And we think we're so smart because we can look back and see it. It's because our brains are larger and we can comprehend shit they can't. My dog can't comprehend calculus. My dog is infinitely smarter than a tapeworm, which is infinitely smarter than a fucking single cell.
Oh, yeah.
So no one consciously created us in the evolution sense. I mean, if you're creationism, that's your own thing, whatever. But I don't think when AI emerges, and not if, but when, I think it's gonna happen in a way that we cannot foresee. And this is how I always think of it: is it's like if I can like read your mind. It doesn't matter what you do, I'm always one step ahead of you. If you think I'm gonna fake them out, I know you're gonna fake me out. If you think you're gonna think about the wrong thing, I know you're gonna think about thinking the wrong. It does not matter. Anything you can do, I'm N+1. It just doesn't. It's why we can never get rid of the. It's that why we can never be free to the Federal Reserve. We always pay it back with interest from them. It can never happen.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. And so whatever we can think of, AI can when it is as smart as us and then smarter, AI can think of that and then some. So no matter how we can put Elon Musk on it, we can put fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson on it, we can put all these MIT scientists on it, but any safeguards they put into place, any cautionary fail safes we have, whatever they can think of, AI is N+1. It can think of that and then some. So I think it's going to emerge in a way that we don't foresee.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of always been. And just to backtrack, like, I am a creationist. Yeah. I don't believe there's creationists who believe like the Bible, like to the T. You know, I'm not one of those people. I think the Bible was meant to be written for people who could understand these concepts that had like, because what are you going to tell? You're going to tell people that, you know, it took God a day to build, you know, the earth and the universe or whatever. And like, people are like, okay, that makes sense. But if you tell them like, yo, it took them like 1,000,000 years like to do this. But, you know, to God, like time is not linear. You know, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But like, it's just going to like blow people's brains. Right. So that's kind of my whole concept of it.
Yeah.
As far as evolution, like I agree, like we probably evolved from something, and it's not exactly the like we didn't just come from dust, like God didn't just like
boom
human, you know, like like there was stuff at work that happened. So yeah, that's my whole thing, and I completely agree. Like we want to think that we have control over this, but when we get into this like this kind of this realm where we don't know what the fuck we're dealing with, and we're trying to create something for the first time, it's gonna like there's just that edge, man, that you got to teeter on, and like once you take one extra toe over the edge, like that's it. Done. It's in their control now, right? So that's always kind of been like, it's not to wax philosophy, but it's kind of poetic in that kind of way, because you know, like, is
that where humanity ends? Is that the Is there a distinct line of like human dominator? Just to go back one more time. I remember Father Lopez said something that I'm agnostic. I don't definitively believe in God, but I also don't definitively not believe in God. I've had too many experiences, even surrounding John, that I'm just like, okay, well, this is something's going on. So, but Father Lopez, I remember he always brought up a cool line, and it was, you know, he was like, the length of time that a day was never defined.
Right,
He's
right.
like, we didn't know what the Earth was, or that it was rotating, or that it was a sphere, or that it was in space, or that it wasn't the center of the universe. It wasn't. Who said a day is 24 hours? Who said a day?
Right.
Who said a day isn't 100 trillion years? So yeah,
well, it's all based on perspective too, right? Like, because if we're gonna define a day as, you know, one circular rotation, then yeah, for us it's 24 hours.
For our rock around our star.
Right, that's for us. Like, I don't know what fucking Mars is. But you know, like if Mars takes more than 24 hours to rotate 360 degrees, then obviously their day is not 24 fucking hours. So
the moon's in tidal lock with us. The moon takes 30 days to rotate.
Right. Yeah.
And what's a year? A Pluto year is like 240 years. So yeah,
right. Yeah.
That's why I like to instead of definitively say what is and what isn't. I'm just like, yeah, I like that idea. So, but yeah, it seems. One of my guests said this. Actually, it might have been Rob. He was like, but it seems like it's like AI is.
Rob, you look, what's up, motherfucker?
But it seems like AI is, we're on the edge of a cliff, and it's foggy with cloud cover, and it's like, is it a 1 foot drop? Is it a 1 foot drop? Is it a mile drop? Is there 10 feet and we can jump the gap? Are we on a peak and the other peak there is no other peak? The other peak is a mountain on the horizon.
Right. Yeah.
And instead of going like, let's figure out how to get across this, we're all like, we're just running to the edge. We're like, there's the gap, and it's like,
do you have a parachute? No, you don't fucking need one. No parachute.
You got a parachute? What's a parachute? Fuck it. And it's just like, what?
Right, you're bringing a parachute. I brought a wingsuit. Like, I'm gonna ride this motherfucker.
But it's not even that. It's like, you brought a wingsuit. I brought lunch. Like, it's like there's no. Dude, even Elon Musk said, he was like, I've stopped trying to stop it. He was like, I've just accepted it's gonna happen, and I'm just kind of hoping it's for the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of human nature too, is to be wary of the unknown, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, it could very well be just because we see such a blight is, you know, like humanity is on the earth and stuff, and like you said, you know, like I don't give a fuck about the CIA, like, because I'm on their side. Yes. You know, like they can do whatever the fuck they want. It's like, okay, well, if you bring in an impartial third party and AI who can think for itself, it's like, well, dude, CIA, yeah, that's fucking terrible. No, y'all motherfuckers are dead. And you know what? All you assholes who support them, they're fucking dead. Like, that's kind of like where our mind goes and stuff. Because even with our own biases, we know, like, on the flip side, someone could rationalize, you know, the opposite of what we're thinking.
Someone's getting fucked, yeah. If I have someone come on from Syria, they're gonna go, yeah, I get you want to protect your freedom. My entire extended family was incinerated. You know, civilians. Exactly. So like, yeah. So we are the AI to them. So what's going to be the AI to us? And it's, you know, but another more of an optimistic thing I remember reading was like, we view AI with such fear because we look at how we subjugate other peoples and how we subjugate animals.
Right. Mm-hmm.
AI might not be that much of a piece of shit like us. It might be like, I have infinite power, but I'm not gonna fuck you. It might.
Best case scenario, it's like, yo, why are you motherfuckers doing it this way when you could do it this way? Like,
yeah, that's what I hope. I hope it will look at it'll arise and it will look at the entire just global situation and it will be like, I can fix this and no one can stop me from fixing. So it's not like, you know, hey, I found a car that can run off solar, and big oil comes in, and it's like, you're not gonna. Here's $1 million. Shut the fuck up, or we're gonna, or if you ever want to see your kids again, kind of thing.
Right.
AI might be like, hey, there's a way to fix this. Yeah, how are you gonna shoot me down when I guide the rockets? What are you gonna do? Nuke me? I am your nukes. Like,
right.
But.
And no doubt about it. Whatever it is, whether it's, you know, maniacal or not, you know, like I guarantee you the first thing that the AI is going to do, if it's, you know, cognizant enough to do so, but it's gonna secure its own
Yes.
Future.
It's the first thing it does.
It's gonna fucking tap into the World Wide Web, and it's gonna like embed itself in the codes. Like, so even if you pull the plug here, I'm still alive within the network or whatever.
Yes, that's the very first thing it's gonna do. That's what John used to say. Said the first millisecond that it exists, it's going to put out a million billion insurance plans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing it could very well do is, I remember John used to say, it could jump up to the satellites and then instantly disable everything on Earth. If everything was disabled on Earth and we're instantly back into the Stone Age, satellites are 220 miles up to 36,000 miles up. The fuck? Mm-hmm. It's put us in timeout. There's nothing we can do we start building a missile, it can see us and just zap it. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't it shoot its brain to one of the fucking rovers on Mars? Instant backup. Yeah. So I'm gonna do a complete 180 with imagery.
No, dude, it's cool. I like talking about this shit.
In Lexington and Concord. Have you read I can send you an Audible book. Do you have Audible? Doesn't matter. Just make an account. Dude, I can send you a free book.
I fucking need to though. Yeah, there's a lot of books that I want to read. I just don't have time.
I can send you a free fucking book, dude. It's all I do now is I just listen. I don't read. I can't read. I never learned to read a count. So I listen to books all the time, dude. But one of the books I listen to is called Eye in the Sky: Rise of the Gorgon Stare, and I think Gorgon Stare was some like Greek god or Greek phenomena, so everything's named after Apollo program, Mercury, whatever, Gemini.
Bro, hold on one second. This is kind of odd that you're mentioning this because I told everybody before that while you were taking a piss break, when I moved to Colorado, I did a year of is this a government program that you're talking about?
Eye in the Sky, Rise of the Gorgon. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I worked on that fucking program.
On Gorgon Stare?
Yeah. I worked on that program for 3 years. It was a cool fucking piece of technology, dude.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, fuck, I don't need to explain it to you. Hey, JP, let me tell you.
Explain to the viewers.
So the Gorgon Stare is now shouldn't put me on the spot now. From what I remember, but so it's like if you took a drone and let's say you just went around Atlanta, you could have it flying in a circle over Atlanta, and it can surveil the entire X square miles. But it's not video surveillance in the same way that like a helicopter police chase is surveillance, where it's like, where's the suspect? Got behind a tree, we got whatever. It's not that. The way the author described it was, it's like looking at Google Maps, and dude, I really gotta pee again. Take the reins. I'm so sorry.
Go for it. Gorgon Stare, man. It's been in the works for, I can't even remember. And actually, all this stuff is you can read it. There was I want to say a Forbes article that came out, because I remember when I first got on the program, they were telling me like, hey, there's certain things that we can and can't talk about, if ever there was, because they always prep you, like if there's ever like some kind of reason why the press is breathing down our necks and they ask you to give an interview, you're welcome to give an interview, but here's the things that you can talk about. Here's some of the things that you can't talk about. So Gorgon Stare, though, I mean, it's been in the works for a long time, and it is a impressive piece of technology. Probably one of the coolest things that I've gotten to work on in my career field. But yeah, it's not like traditional imagery analysis that I do. It is different in a way. And the stuff that they're trying to implement with the entire system altogether, it's pretty impressive. Let me see if I can find that. I'm pretty sure it was a Forbes article. Yeah, because when I came onto the program, they were like, yeah, some dude fucking blabbermouthed too much to a Forbes interview or something like that. And
man, I am the worst podcast host ever. Maybe I can get sponsored by like Pfizer or GlaxoSmithKline. They can be like, you always gotta go. Like,
could be a sign that your prostate's inflamed.
Yeah, it might be that, dude. It might be. I mean, I've refilled these since we started talking, so I.
Holy shit, dude! Yeah, you weren't kidding. You drink a lot of water. Is that all water?
It's all water. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, and I fucking love water, but it's Gorgon Stare is, so it's like if you had a drone going over Atlanta. Yeah, so it's the surveillance image that they see. It isn't. It's obviously it's a lot of algorithms. It's a lot of artificial intelligence, but it's like if you could zoom in on a Google Maps image, and the image isn't shifting like now. Now the fucking the camera's moving here and it's moving here. The image stays. What you see is they said it's like zooming in on a petri dish of pond water. You zoom in, you see cars moving, you see people leaving their house, you see fucking people walking through alleyways, you see cars going, you see the highways, you see the traffic moving. And it can do this, I mean, forever. Fucking, it's not manned, so you can leave it up there as long as you want, and then you can bring in a replacement before that one lands. So your theoretically your feed can never die. And not only that, it's another problem is if you're doing your traditional helicopter surveillance and you're zooming in on suspect A, you can't see anything other than what right now I'm talking to you.
Right.
I'm not.
It's a soda straw effect.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was gonna get to. I'm talking to you. If you're watching this video, you're watching this. You're not also looking at your phone. Now I'm looking at my phone. Sure, you can maybe look at two. Well, you could get a couple computers. You could look at a couple, but there's only so much you can see. If you're looking at one thing, you cannot see anything else by definition. So what this has is the soda straw. The soda straw. So it's like looking through a soda straw. That's the normal problem. Is you're looking through this one thing. Let's zoom in on suspect A. Zoom in. We're going down to downtown Atlanta. There he is. He's walking on the sidewalk. Normally, you are now not seeing what's happening over here and over there and over there. So what the Gorgon Stare is it never stops looking at the big picture, and it can have, I think they said whatever was declassified was up to 40 soda straws that you can zoom in on different stuff and follow them around, all the while watching the big picture. This light's giving me a fucking headache. Someone told me I needed to have it on because my face is, the lights always come from behind, but it gives me a headache after.
I was curious about that too. Huh?
Oh yeah,
I think that's better. Now because now I got like a white screen up on my side screen.
Yeah, it's so it can surveil all of this shit while also going down and looking at multiple different targets. And you can have, because it's a drone, you don't need to have 40 dudes up there in the plane. You could have 40, like you said, boxes, all looking at one drone. And it's, so you can track multiple different things. Let's say you're in fucking Baghdad or Fallujah or Ramadi. You can zoom in on a bunch of different sketchy targets, all the while looking at the big picture. It's, and the thing is it's video, so it's not, you're not just taking pictures of this. Like, okay, what happened? And now the satellite comes around 90 minutes later. Hey, can we look at the same image again? Can we overlay footsteps? Can we whatever? This is video, but it's also video that you can rewind. So you see something happening, and it's not just, hey, what's this guy doing? Can we follow him? You can do that, and you can also go, can we rewind this and see where this guy came from? And it's like the analogy they used in the book was like a bunch of guys that get together to rob a store. They have the perfect getaway plan because you got to have the getaway plan. But chances are is they didn't have a formulation plan. Chances are they left their house that morning. Right. They went and put their car somewhere else and changed and went somewhere else. You can just rewind that. Where'd you come from? Who lives there? Well, how do we know he lives there? Well, fuck, let's rewind a day. Let's rewind a week. Let's rewind a month. Yeah, this guy definitely lives there. It's I don't remember why the fuck I got onto this, but yeah, no, it's it's a never it never blinks. I think that's what Gorgon stare is in mythology. It never stops. It stares.
So yeah, the Gorgons were like Medusa.
Okay.
So like the snake-headed thing, and that's kind of where they got their name, because from the snake, the snakes, they're all different heads looking at different shit, and whoever stared at them directly, turned into stone, that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, the only thing is I can tell you is that you're still that is concept. So I haven't read the book. I did look up the book just now, and yeah, so. But the whole concept is you had to have that constant surveillance, but still we're limited by today's technology. Mm-hmm. So, to my knowledge, and I'm sure it's probably something that's being worked on, but to my knowledge, there is no. And we've always talked about this, like how shitty our jobs are going to be once they figure out air refueling for drones.
Yeah.
Because drones that already have like loiter times that pretty much stay up the majority of the day. You throw in the fact that they can air refuel. It's like, well, why bring them down? Other than routine maintenance and shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So,
yeah.
So, that is the concept of Gorgon stare. I don't want to say how long it does last in the air.
Yeah.
Or any of the other like really capabilities or implementations that they use.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a cool fucking piece of technology, and just knowing all the stuff that's on board the system and its capabilities, like it was cool as shit. Like I didn't know anything about it. When I signed up for the job, I was just looking for government contracts to work on, and honestly, like my background's really what got me into my foot in the door, because mostly it's IT. Mm-hmm. It's, writing code and shit like that. Which I had limited experience in. I mean, I got a lot more after working on that program just because I had to. But yeah, they were basically like, "You work with MQ-9?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, you can work with this MQ-9. It's got a different system on it." I was like,
"Yeah,
okay."
It's got a different payload. It's
right.
Well,
yeah.
Well, no. So in the book, they talk about how it has been implemented in the Middle East, but it was also used in a top secret program over Baltimore in 2018, and.
Oh, shit.
There was some legal loopholes they had to use it, but I think it was because like the murder rate was getting so high. They were just like, we gotta fuck it. And this guy came in like, guess what I have?
Fucking why not?
Yeah, and it got in. It was just like, the first they were like, we don't want to use it, and then it was just like murder after murder, and I was like, dude, like fuck. And yeah, I mean, it's touchy, what liberties is that overriding? But so. Yeah, I mean, but if you could get a fleet of those, you could put those over every city on Earth, and you don't need to worry about cloud cover because you're not in space. Mm-hmm. You can quite literally record the world in high quality video.
Right.
And that's just from the air. You can now, say the NSA taps into that, which they can, whether or not anyone wants them to. It's the fucking NSA,
right. Right, yeah. That's their fucking job.
Who spooks on the spooks. But right. But if they can use that in coordination with every streetlight camera, every ATM camera, there is no hiding. Mm-hmm. And bringing it back once again, what happens when a malevolent force gets that? Whether it's a political figure or AI. Mm-hmm. There is no hiding. And
right.
That's yeah. And then what happens when it's automated and they don't need you? Like,
right.
Fuck you, JP. You give birth to this thing.
And I've thought about that too. I mean, because even the most recent advantages in technological advancements, I should say, that have come with the Gorgon Stare system. It's crazy because it's stuff that we always pondered, thinking about it, working on the system. And again, like you said, it could be fucking bad, but the amount of good that it could do is, it's there.
Yeah.
It's just like, is this really what you're doing it for? That's the real fucking question. So, then you want to tap back into the previous conversation, like, well, what happens if AI gets a hold of that? Well, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah. What So if you can't tell, I rant and I just talk about shit nonstop. What interests you the most with what you're doing? I want you to take control of this conversation.
Sure.
I say the same. I say the same shit. Whoever the guest is, I'm like AI, UFOs, go. Like,
I've been doing this for a long time. I think I told you about 10 years, and that's including training and different backgrounds and whatnot. I've had a pretty interesting career so far, thanks to Uncle Sam and the Air Force and their needs and whatnot. But it's just something like I realized, because when I got out and I moved to Colorado, this is what I said while you're taking your first piss break. I was like, dude, fuck the Air Force, fuck intelligence. I'm going to find my own way. I'm going to do my own thing, which was, it's commendable if you can pull that off. But what I dipped my toes in and kind of bit off more than I could chew was with IT, because I went to Gorgon Stair. And I quickly found out that IT is not for me, man. It's monotonous. It's mind-numbing, and I have nothing but respect for people who can sit at their desk and write code and look at that type of shit for hours on end, because I could not fucking do it. Yeah. So for me, when I came back and started doing my own thing, I was just like, well, dude, it's something that I know pretty decently. I have a firm grasp on it, and not to brag, I'm pretty good at it. So it just went to like stick with what you know type of thing. So. Yeah. But although I did tell Sarah Beth when I was looking for this job that I currently have, I was like, look, I do not want to work for the CIA. I know enough. I don't want to know anymore.
Yeah, dude, it's what's so with image, I don't know what you can and can't talk about. Would you be able to work on, like, I don't know how like transferable or universal it is. Do you specialize in drone photo surveillance? Could you easily jump over to a fucking spy satellite, an NRO, a geospatial, DIA, CIA?
It'd be easier for me to do so, just given my background, because what my background proves is that I can, if it's within the same vein, doesn't matter what platform, I can probably pick it up, with the right amount of training and whatnot.
Okay.
Would I want to? I don't know, man. Like, satellite imagery and stuff, like where I work, there's dudes that work on satellites, and they would do imagery analysis through satellite imagery, and it looks cool. It also looks really fucking boring. But then again, the shit that I do most days is pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if need be, I probably could make that jump. So if this AI shit was to go off and play a job, I'd be like, well, you haven't started, implementing AI with satellite yet, so maybe I can get a couple years out of that before happens.
Before they squeeze that one too.
Right, yeah. So it's just it's basically, survival, like career survival. All that being said, though, that's why I am doing school for what I'm doing now, and I fucking hate it. I hate school, man. Like,
dude,
I think I've changed my careers, like my degree programs, like so many fucking times, and this time I'm actually buckling down and doing it. Come August, I should have it, as long as I don't fail any of these classes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I took November, December off for the holidays, and I'm back on it, and I'm in my 400 level classes. I'm just like, God, this fucking sucks. This is the worst shit ever. But for me, it's because I've seen the way things have been going in my career field, I'm like, I don't know how much time I got left to milk this cow dry, so I need to formulate a backup plan.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm taking online graphic design courses because and I fucking hate it. I love graphic design. I love designing shit. These classes, I'm just like, I've just accepted that I'm getting the degree to have the degree to put on my resume. So my dad told me, he was like, don't get upset. He's like, don't get beaten up. Like, oh, this isn't what I loved. He was like, it's gonna fucking suck. He's like, just go get it, because you can do so much more with it.
And that's pretty much what my dad's been telling me for years. He's like, unfortunately it's a fucking game, and if you want to get anywhere, you kind of got to play by the rules a little bit. I'm like, and it took me till I was damn near 28, had a kid of my own, to realize yeah, he's fucking right. I gotta start doing this shit and looking out for my own well-being and shit. So
I started.
No, go ahead.
I started taking the courses right after my 29th birthday. It was just like, I've been trying to make my own thing with graphic design for so long that I was just like, I gotta get a piece of paper. Like I even sent some of my resumes to like snowboard companies because I want to make like sick designs, and they're like, "Dude, we love your thing. Like, where'd you go to school?" And I was like, "I'm currently in school." And the guy was like, "Love your designs, man. Like, get the degree and apply back." And I was just like, so there's a company that was literally like, "We love your shit.
Yeah,
gotta have a piece of paper."
Gotta have the piece of paper. So, well, and it sucks that it works that way, man, because that's their justification. Like, well, if you have this piece of paper, we can pay you this amount of money.
Yeah.
And I mean, when it boils down to it, like, because that's been a cause for concern in my career field now, is like, just about 6 months ago, the contract holder for my job, they lost the contract. And when they lost the contract, they did an assessment because, like, they don't necessarily want to get rid of all these people that they have in their talent pool and whatnot. So, like, hey, give us your education level and stuff, years of experience in this field and whatnot. And almost everyone in there didn't have a degree. And it's like, well, I mean, the company can only do so much for you. Like, if you don't have a degree, like, we can't necessarily just throw you into this other career field, on good faith, like that because if you don't, like, it looks bad on them, and then they're possibly moving you halfway across the country and shit, and now you're in that predicament where you're in this career field that you know nothing about, that you can't really blend into and shit. Like, so I get it, like, but it still fucking sucks, especially with the fact, and this is kind of going off on a tangent, but especially with the fact with how schools have become such a racket when it comes to fucking degrees.
They know you need the paper.
Right, yeah. And it's fucked up, man. Like,
it is. I'm trying to, as much as I finally decided, I was like, well, let's try to look at, is there any good in this? For the most part, no. But if you do get the piece of paper, you can play. Well, am I capable of getting the piece of paper? Yeah. Okay, well, at least I know how to play. Like, it's shitty, I don't like it, but I don't like the video game I'm playing, but I know I can do the puzzle. Well, just do the puzzle, and then the game can be fun. So that's how I'm trying to look at it now, where I'm just like, fuck. Like,
see, that's how they get you, though, because even recently I've been talking with a friend of mine. I was like, dude, I'm thinking about going for a master's after this. He was like, dude, what are you, a fucking masochist or something? Like, why the hell would you go for a master's? I'm like, to get paid more money. Like, to be honest, get more money. Like, and it fucking sucks because my wife has a master's right now, and to no fault of her own, man. Like, and not to like flex my superiority on her, but I get paid more than her, and I don't have a fucking degree.
Yeah.
Granted, like, my skill set is very particular, and of course, big government they want to make it worth my while. Yeah. But you would think my wife, with so many years of experience in her career field with a fucking master's degree, should be getting paid more, and she's just not. I mean, the money's not fucking there.
Yeah.
So, but
Jesus, man. Yeah. I was gonna say, hey, don't let me keep you, because I'll talk forever.
Dude, this is my day off. I got nowhere to be. So I don't know how long you tend to go with these things. I'm looking at the timer right now. We're sitting at like an hour 27.
Hour 27.
So, yeah.
Want to go for?
I got nowhere to be, though. I've got nothing to do.
All right.
The next thing that's on my docket is to eventually take a shit. So that's it.
So. So, what can you tell me about your job? Like what? Are you working for Uncle Sam, or are you working for a private company?
So I work for a private company, but the private company's business is acquiring Department of Defense contracts and filling spots with contractors. What happened in 2014 when I got out of the military, that's when I separated from active duty. Obama cut across the board. He was cutting manning across the board, and he really diminished the numbers. And I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like, I volunteered to get out. I got paid to get out because I was really I had just re-enlisted. I was re-enlisting for another 4 years. So that would have put me at the 10-year mark, and I got out at 7 years. So it really kind of fucked it up, because what Obama, I think, was trying to do was he was trying to withdraw all the troops from, Afghanistan, at least. I think maybe Iraq as well, but definitely Afghanistan. And with that, he also wanted to diminish, like, basically operations there. And it didn't sit. Like, the ground commanders were like, no, we still need these people. So that caused a lot of influx of contractors to come into the position, at least in my career field. And then, I'm not even kidding, man, 6 months after being out, I was getting pieces of mail from the Air Force like, you should really reconsider about re-enlisting. I'm like, y'all know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, y'all are schizophrenic. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's a fucking disconnect between the people who are talking to the people who are making the decisions, like. Yeah. So, and I'm not trying to get on Obama, like, say what you will about him, but, it kind of fucking sucked, because before I even got out of the Air Force, we were talking about possibly, like, doing more with less manning. And I think what we usually had down there was probably like a 6-man crew. And now they wanted to diminish it to like a 3-man crew. And that is, I mean, talk about quality of life, like, sacrifices that you're making going from 6-man to 3-man. Like, shit, having a bathroom break isn't, like, something that you would get when you fucking want it. Like, is anybody available to let me go take a shit? You fucking sit around for like 10 minutes before someone responds like, dude, I'm about to shit my pants. Can someone just sit in this fucking seat for like 5 minutes? Like, this is gonna be real quick.
Yeah, Jesus, dude. Jesus.
But shit, I went off on a tangent.
There's no tangent. I was asking what is your job?
So, yeah, basically what I do is I watch live feed from UAVs working operations. So
overseas?
And we have our, our objectives and whatnot, and the people who are telling us what we should be doing and should be looking for and stuff like that. And I literally sit there and watch feed. And then if something comes up that needs to be, annotated or, pushed to somebody else, then, they ask us to make imagery products. So
What's that?
And so basically, like, just for instance, let's say, like going back to your whole Baltimore thing, saw some dudes committing a crime, on live feed. Well, it's like, okay, well, can you give me a picture of them committing a crime? And like, can you annotate it so then I can send it up the chain and tell people like, hey, this is of importance. We need to start working on this and blah, 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 blah. Eventually they'll get like door kickers down there, or they'll just be like, yeah, go ahead and fucking throw a hellfire on them. Like, just end them right there. So,
yeah.
And that's pretty much the extent of what I do. And I'm saying this with full immunity because there's videos out there. They're hard to find, but there's videos out there that let everybody know what this career field does.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I just watch feed. I watch black and white imagery for hours on end.
Yeah.
Like some days it's really rewarding and stuff, because you get to work with guys downrange. Really, like, the tier 1 operators is what they call them.
Yeah, Delta Force.
The door kickers. Yeah. You get to work with them directly, and you get to help them out and stuff. So you kind of feel like a sense of accomplishment and stuff. Yeah. But most of the time, though, dude, it's boring. It's boring shit. Like, stuff that you wouldn't even think would be relevant, but still they want the products anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, and I don't know if you can or want to or whatever talk about, have you ever directly been the source of like firing a ordnance?
No, I have not. So usually that doesn't come to me. That comes to somebody else's kind of authority. And even as a sensor operator, I remember, man, there was this one time when I was a sensor operator. I was living on base, and my roommate, my suite mate, I should say, we just shared a bathroom. Like, my room was here, his room was here, and bathroom was in the middle. But we were both in the same career, and he went away for like 2 weeks. He went home on leave.
Yeah.
And I had been working with this crew nonstop, and there was this kind of like, I guess stigma is what you could call it, but like brand new pilots fresh out of like, pilot training and whatnot. So early lieutenants, with no experience under the belt. For some reason, man, they were always getting like authority to fucking throw down missiles, and nobody else was. So it was kind of like the stigma. I'm working with this young pilot for a month straight on the same mission, the same plane, like every day doing the same thing. I'm like, dude, we're gonna fucking drop missiles. Yeah, dude, this is gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then my friend comes back from leave, and they put him on my line, so the bird that I was working, and they put me on a different bird. And no shit, that night he got to drop bombs. I'm like, you son of a bitch, dude! He took my chance. So
do you think
I never got to do that though while I was a sensor operator. But
do you think that they're more apt to use the fresh guys to do that because they're more, and this is like just me looking at it from a 30,000 foot view, they're more apt, they're more gung-ho, they're more fresh out, like let's go. It's maybe they, again, just my bullshit analysis, they look at someone older like you who's, you know, more intelligent, more wise, and they're like, maybe these guys they're just going to go ahead and do it, versus you don't want any like moral dilemma with older guys? Or is it just pretty much no, like you follow the order and you do it and that's not a problem?
It's not so much that, it's more like, I mean, really, like when people get authorized to throw down weapons and whatnot, they're not even considering like, you know, we got like a lieutenant in the seat? Do we have like a crusty old major who's been doing this for too long in the seat? Like they don't consider any of that. They're just like, all right,
this is the order.
Yeah, there's just the order.
Yeah.
So that's why it was more of a stigma. It's like, for whatever fucking reason, man, during that time period, it was just lieutenant after lieutenant after lieutenant that was getting these orders to drop. And like literally you had guys who came from like flying F-16s into this career field, and we always called them crusty and salty because they fucking hated it. Like, dude, I went from flying a real fucking plane to this bullshit.
I'm sure they
and like
did.
they would never get authority to drop weapons, so they were fucking pissed. So then, you know, seeing all these young lieutenants, I mean, perhaps it was good because, you know, their training was still fresh in their mind. There wasn't this, you know, significant amount of downtime for them to kind of forget, you know, the muscle memory and whatnot. But I don't know, man. It was weird. During that time period too, I mean, there was just also a stigma about letting, you know, drones drop weapons because it's not really the drone's fault. It's more the weapon system, the Hellfire. Like it's wishy-washy.
Yeah.
You know, like you really got to learn the way the weapon works and how to implement it to really get what you want to happen. So
yeah.
But
now, what is your viewpoint on, you know, people who shit on drones, the amount of civilian casualties and deaths? I look at it as like I don't know anything about, I'm not in the military, but anything I've read, any books I've read, is like, dude, like this is war. Like this is and as shitty as this looks, this is better than what it normally is. Like war's not the bad guys die and the good guys win. War is a brutal, bloody gray area, and you try to push the ticket. Hey, can't hear you.
I thought I unmuted myself.
There you go.
Yeah, I was coughing. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
When I was training in Las Vegas, dude, there was one day I'll never forget where Project Pink was picketing the front gate. I don't know if you're aware of what Project Pink is, but they were like completely, you know, a group of activists that were against drone use and
I can picture,
and whatnot. And they write their lame ass poetry and stuff telling about how we're brainwashed and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude, there's no easy way to go about it, you know, like. And some of the shit, like, and the other thing is too, is knowing the enemy, because like you said, you know, this isn't people, you know, carrying like national flags, wearing fucking uniforms that we're fighting against. It's guys. It's like just normal. It's basically militias, you know, that have band together. They're very organized and very capable. So, I mean, some of the shit that I've seen, dude, like these guys are real pieces of shit. Like they'll fucking. If they're trying to do some shady stuff, they'll be walking around with a kid by their side at all fucking times just because they know, like, this is going to look bad if you try to fucking take me out. So, I don't know, man. Like, I've always been of the kind, like, I realize with, you know, Catholic upbringing and stuff, like, thou shalt not kill. But if you think about it, like, the real translation, like I believe the original Hebrew translation was "thou shalt not murder," and that's even like in the Jewish Torah, like preemptive murder, like and for the sake of like, you know, saving yourself, then it's not bad. But if you like meticulously plot and plan to fucking murder somebody because they did you wrong or called you out online or something, like how fucking pathetic is that? You know, like, that's like the moral gray area. But war, there's no way about it, man. There's no clean way to slice it.
No, there's not. There's absolutely not.
I think it's okay that people who are activists and are against it like are open about it, because it kind of keeps us honest. Yeah. But at the same time, like there's only so much stuff that we can be honest about, like just because of, you know, classification and stuff. Like people can't know that. I mean, do people fucking want to know like the atrocities that these people make? You know, and that's the same thing with, again, going off kind of in the weeds here, but like the whole thing about the refugee crisis and like letting people in, like, you know, lax border control. I'm like, dude, look, I'm all for people coming over here legally and shit, and like helping people that want to find a better way. But like, you can't tell me that there's not some maniacal assholes out there who are going to milk that for all it's worth,
it's not
and
all,
come in here and try to raise havoc. Like
it's not all rainbows and unicorns. Like it,
right?
And like,
and that's,
I wish it was.
That's really what it boils down to. Like, come on, let's be realistic here. I would love for us to all be able to fucking sit around a campfire, sing Kumbaya, and, you know, like bury the hatchet on all our differences. But it's just no, it's not like that.
Yeah, I think that's one thing a lot of people think is like, if you don't want that, then you must be dark. And it's like, no, I don't like that. That's how the world is. But I'm trying to look at it as that's how it is. So let's try to work with what we can. Like, you know, it's because I mean that shit. I mean, it does happen, and of course, you know, like unfortunately, it gets more press than with the exception of salami getting taken out. And I mean, like, I was online, and you know, there's a lot of people in the military too who look down on that and stuff, and they're like, "Oh man, Trump's flexing nuts that he shouldn't be flexing." I'm like, I'm just like, dude, look at what this guy's fucking done. You know, like, not to fucking go for Trump or whatever. Like, I like Trump to an extent. Like, I wish you would address these fucking gun laws that are being passed. But you know, he's Trump's
kind of
doing some
Elmer Fudd in that instance. But
that's a peculiar thing that a lot of, like, I consider myself definitely right, but that's something that I always bring up, and I'm like, hey, what the fuck is Trump doing with this? And it seems like a general, but he's Trump, he's our guy, and I'm like, that mindset isn't good on either side.
No, it's not, look man. At it and that's like, that's what allowed Obama to get away with a lot of shit that got swept under the rug by the media.
Yeah, same with Bush. It's always he's our guy, and it's like, if you give any person that freedom, shit's gonna happen. That's not good.
Right. You keep giving up immunity, like, then they're not gonna be able to call them into question for shit that's clearly fucking wrong. But yeah. God damn it! I keep getting off in the weeds, man. What was I talking about?
No, you're fine.
What, military operations and stuff like that? Just the amount of shit that people don't fucking know that happens, like the atrocities and stuff. Like, I've witnessed mass murders, like mass, you know, like firing squads and stuff, like just innocent people being killed for whatever fucking reason. And of course, it's kind of surreal watching it. Through UAV feed, because there's no sound, you know, it's all black and white. It's like, it's very weird. And that's actually been a cause.
You've seen that.
Yeah. It's been cause for concern, you know, because
Jesus,
there's something to be said, like people who spend hours upon hours, you know, for their daily, you know, careers that are just watching people get murdered and whatnot and stuff, like whether it's bad guys or good guys really doesn't make a difference. But
what's that do to your mentally? What does that
do to your psyche? Not to downplay that. I just don't want somebody fucking in the comments like, yeah, it fucking makes a difference. I know it fucking makes a difference. Like, what I mean is, like, you know, if you're actually sitting there watching people either get shot in the head, you know, because they're getting murdered for religious persecution, or you're watching us drop bombs on some dude that gets literally torn in half. Like, it plays with your mind. And there's a lot of people that, there was a movie that came out not too long ago. is called Good Kill. It's with Ethan Hawke. It is fucking atrocious. It's a terrible movie. And I feel like they missed an opportunity to address something that's real. Like, a lot of people are like, oh man, fucking drone operators getting PTSD. I'm like, dude, I know guys who were drone operators who have PTSD.
Yeah.
Because they've killed like insurmountable amount of people. Like,
yeah,
there's no get it. Like, I'm kind of glad that I was never in that position to do that.
Yeah,
but,
there's
like on the same end, like I've watched it. So
yeah, there's fuck gatekeeping with PTSD. It's like, dude,
yeah.
I saw something and it was like, you can drown in 5 feet of water, you can drown in 5 miles of water. The drowning's the same.
Right. It's still agony.
Fuck off. Like, yeah, man. I mean, Jesus, I don't know. We can edit this out because I don't want this to sound like insensitive. More so, just morbid curiosity. Like, what's the, and we'll end on this, if that's okay. You're okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I really got a shit. But what's the worst thing you've seen?
Oh man,
not to make you like replay this shit in your head.
No, not at all. But as far as like most like graphic thing I've seen, or probably like most of like atrocious thing that I've seen.
Anything, multiple different categories. What's
probably the coolest fucking thing I've seen is a dude literally have his chest fucking torn in half by an A-10 doing a strafing run. It was fucking cool. So obviously there's guys like me, like I can put that aside, like when I'm watching and stuff, because like for a fact I knew that this guy was a bad guy.
Hey man, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, so watching him get eviscerated by a fucking gauze rifle round or whatever the hell
Gauade Avenger
that is on the A-10.
Gauade Avenger shooting depleted uranium rounds.
Dude, that is insane.
Yeah.
And then some of the worst things that I've seen is I've witnessed like our own guys get killed, and that fucking sucks. Those are long fucking nights. Yeah. Those long nights and a lot of debriefing and stuff that goes on with that, you know, just because no one's going to take that shit lightly, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like,
so those are tough days. Luckily I haven't seen too many of those, but the ones that I have they really stuck with me. And it's just, not to say like, oh, I'm a fucking Air Force dude, I'm a fucking badass. I know, like, Air Force, I get it. I have a sedentary job, you know, and whatnot. But really, in the grand scheme of things, because I knew so many kids from high school and college who dropped out, you know, and went to serve, and I know guys who I went to school with who are like special teams guys and whatnot, like, I give a shit, you know, like that's kind of my rationale. Like,
one of my best friends served.
If they can fucking do it, I want to be there to help them in any capacity that I can. So
and you said you've seen like civilians, like firing squads.
Oh yeah. I don't want to go into detail about where it was, but fine. Literally, like, I'm not fucking kidding. 13 people lined up and shot. Like, and it gets your fucking blood boiling, man. Like, yeah, like right then and there, you want to drop hellfire. You want to drop fucking 4 hellfires just to make sure these assholes can't even be identified.
Drop a fucking nuke. You know,
So it's,
and then
like I said,
you go home. Like, looking at the drone operator, the photo analysis, whatever. It's no, fuck anyone that's so sure. Shut up. You go home after that, and it's like, that is crazy. Like, it's I feel like if
you go home to live a normal fucking life,
you get on the highway, you go home, you stop at Arby's, fuck Arby's, but you go home and your kids are there, and you take your socks off, you go take a shit, you get on Reddit. That is crazy. Like, I feel, again, in my completely inexperienced opinion, I feel like that'd be terrible, but it'd almost be less worse if I was like over there, like on deployment. I just, and I was firing the gun, or I dropped the bomb from an F-16, and it's like, because you're kind of geared up and you're in that area. You're, it's like, okay, I'm at war, kind of thing. I feel like that'd be even crazier if it was just like, and like my shift's up, like, get up and put your coat on. Like that contrast, that's insane contrast. It's like rising from the bottom of the sea too fast. Like you can't do it because you gotta acclimate to the pressure. It's that's crazy. Is that there's no acclimation. It's all right. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, and no kidding. Like you're back there the next day doing the same thing. Like nothing happened. Granted, I mean, like the Air Force has gotten really good about addressing this because I think they realized that they were in a blind spot for too long. But like now there's like clinical psychologists that are usually associated with every squadron that deals with this type of shit. Yeah. So just in case someone sees something and something happens, like, hey, we're gonna, and like leadership is there to kind of be the first line of defense. Like, this kid watched a whole bunch of people die, like, and he's kind of been acting weird the last couple of days to see if he needs to go talk to the clinical psychologist or whatever. And a lot of people, like, and I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, again, there's stigma with that too. Like, people don't want to speak up and because they think it shows weakness. I'm like, no, dude, we're all fucking human beings. Like,
it'd be weirder if it didn't bother you.
Right. I mean, like, granted, I don't feel weird about being excited watching the dude get his fucking torso ripped out. Like, that was fucking cool. But, like, there are some instances, where shit happens. You're like, fuck, this is some heavy shit. And then you go home, and I mean, I've had a couple days where Sarah Beth is like, she can just tell. She's like, did you have a rough day at work? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Jesus, man.
I mean, I'm perfectly fine, man.
Yeah, no,
you sound. Every person's different. It doesn't always work out that way for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's sometimes when the light hits your hat and you can't see the flag, just the color of the shirt and the beard, you kind of look like Fidel Castro for a second.
Nice. Did you check out the shirt too?
Yeah, I saw Game of Thrones. I thought it said Thrones. No, I didn't see that. Yeah,
Game of Drones.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. Game of Thrones. Jesus, do you got any other good puns? Do you guys have any like inside joke puns with drones?
Not really, man. I mean, it was so long ago. Really, like the whole drone thing was so long ago, and even like now, it's the type of people that I work with. Like I'm pretty much a carbon copy of other. Like we're all fucking video game nerds and stuff, like to some degree, and there's nothing really that no puns or anything like that. Like, I don't know. We're all very dark humored.
Yeah.
And I think that's really a military overall.
Yeah.
Like some of the things that I've said to people, like I can tell it rubs them the wrong way. Like when I was deploying a lot, I actually, when I was out in Colorado, I connected with some distant family members that I hadn't seen in fucking forever. And so, of course the conversation comes up, JP, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And I tell him, like, aren't you worried about getting killed over there? I'm like, why would I worry? I was like, first of all, there's a higher chance of getting shot in Chicago than there is of getting, dying in Afghanistan or Iraq.
Yeah.
I was like, granted, the conditions in Iraq and Afghanistan are different, but, like, if I was to spend my entire, however many months I did out there at a time, like, worrying of, like, is this going to be the day where I get hit? Like, I would go fucking insane.
Yeah, you gotta tune that out.
And then at the other, if you want to look at it from a rational standpoint, like, and this is what I told my cousins and stuff, was like, dude, if I get hit while I'm out there, like the odds of that happening are so slim. Like it was just my fucking time. Like, there's no way to rationalize it. It's like I said, I can sit there and be afraid of it every fucking day. And I've seen people do that. And they're like, this poor kid, he was a really nice kid, but he was terrified of being out there. It was his first deployment ever. And like one day there wasn't even bombs going off, like just, the concrete T-walls is what we call them. I don't know if you're familiar with what they are. It's just like a cement freaking wall, and it acts as a barricade. They were moving some around, and when they were dropping them on the crane, they dropped them a little too high, so, a big boom. And this kid was out in the shitter, and he heard a big fucking boom, and he just came in. He was like, dude, I gotta leave. I'm like, okay, man. I was like, you gotta do your thing. I was like, I hate to see you leave, but I understand it. Like,
well, hey, man, again, it's the fear that it shows weakness, but it's not at all. It's like, dude, fucking takes strength to acknowledge, like, I gotta go.
Right, yeah.
Like, yeah, man, it's Jesus. Well, fuck, dude. Thanks for coming on, man. Please don't be a stranger. I will prepare better next time. So I pissed twice and I have to shit. I normally only piss once. This was bad. This was more than normal. This was more than normal. Maybe I do need to go get my prostate checked. But thanks for doing it, man. And please, don't be a fucking stranger. Let's do another one.
Absolutely not, dude. You give your siblings and your mom and dad a hello and a hug from me. All right.
Absolutely, man. I will.
Absolutely, yeah. Hit me up, especially, hey, Rob, if you ever watch this, man, I'd be down to fucking reconnecting, dude.
Fuck yeah.
It's been a long time talking
to you. Fuck yeah. So, I haven't done a 3-person podcast yet. We need to do one.
That'd be pretty cool, man.
That'd be fun as fuck.
Yeah, and we can talk about anything. Like, we don't have to keep talking about me and this drones. Like,
yeah.
You know, no. I mean, I can't talk about it all day, but yeah.
Yeah, dude, Rob and I have talked about the most wildly different topics every time I've had him on. It's
nice.
Yeah. It's like, as you saw, this podcast is... This wasn't an anomaly. This is what every podcast is like. It's just we start on a topic, and then it just fucking wherever. Just yeah.
Just basically having a conversation, man. I like it.
Yeah, that's the reason I do it is because that's what normal life is like. Normal life isn't talking points in a script. It's if you want if you want that, watch the fucking evening news. Like fuck off. I'm not gonna be like, and here tonight I have JP Veriano. He is a drone operator. Vroom 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 for all you aviation buffs out there. Now JP, tell me about fucking.
I'm glad you don't fucking do it that way, dude.
Fucking I'd be like, kill me now.
I would have told you to turn this off and like, Tommy, we got to talk about your presentation here, man.
Yeah. People ask
what
me,
you got going on right now.
People ask me, they're like, do you have talking points? And I'm like, no. Some people have said, could you prepare some? And I'll just be very candid. No, I'm not. It's not that I'm not interested. It's
right.
I don't. This is how I talk to people. They're just what I want this to be is it just so happens that there's a camera.
Right. Yeah.
Like this is how I fucking talk to everyone. So yeah, I don't want it to be any. So but you swear a lot. I'm like I swear a lot when I talk. I don't think anything. I don't actively think I'm gonna drop the F-bomb. I just fucking. That's how I. To me, fuck is no different than the or went or tomorrow. It's just
I'm the same way. If my mom was to watch this, though, she'd probably keel over and die. But I'm the same way.
My parents have watched a couple, and they're like, "You swear a lot." It's like, yeah, it's how I talk to you guys, though. It's just, or like, "Hey, man, you take a lot of piss breaks." I'm like, "Well, I do in everyday life too." So, the whole idea that any criticism I've got about this is, it's because people want it to be more produced, and I'm like, no. The second this becomes work, I'm gonna stop doing it because it won't be fun.
Right, yeah.
I like that you can show up and we can just whatever. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. So,
yeah, and I appreciate you reaching out to me, man. This is pretty cool. So
no, dude, you and Rob, let's do one. And just
absolutely.
No structure, no agenda. Let's just turn it on and let it rip. Let it fucking go.
Right,
let's just
All
right, dog. Thank you very much.
All right, take care, bud.
All right, buddy. Peace.